Stop whatever you're doing and listen to me for a second, because I can tell you exactly where you are going to be in 6 months if you don't change your habits today. You'll be exactly where you are right now, just 6 months older, a lot more tired, and probably a little more frustrated. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are breaking down a framework that addresses the massive, life-altering stakes of the next 180 days of your life. Look, time is a trust. It's an amana. And for so many of us, it is just slipping right through our fingers while we mindlessly scroll. So today, we're looking at the ultimate fork in the road. It's the choice between drifting and designing. Let's get right into it, because hey, the next 6 months, they're going to pass anyway. The only real question is, how are you going to use them? Seriously? Ask yourself, where will you be in exactly 180 days? I want you to really sit with that for a moment. It's a fascinating time frame, right? Because it's short enough to feel incredibly immediate, like it's just around the corner. But it's long enough to completely and utterly change your life. 6 months from now, you're going to find yourself in one of two distinct categories. You will either be miles ahead of your peers, holding undeniable proof of your hard work, or you'll be giving a world-class, highly emotional TED Talk to your bathroom mirror about why you just didn't have the time this year. Honestly, there is absolutely zero middle ground here. And the reason there's no middle ground is because of the great illusion of neutral. You know what I mean? We kind of think that if we aren't actively ruining our lives, well, we must be doing fine. But here's the reality check. If you aren't intentionally building something, you are drifting. By default, drift is completely automatic. And the really dangerous, sneaky part about it, drifting actually feels like you're busy. You're sitting there optimizing your Notion workspace template for 3 hours, changing the colors, feeling super productive, all while completely avoiding the actual work. Design, on the other hand, requires creating intentional structure. Because trust me, if you don't design your days, the algorithms and the distractions of the world will very, very gladly design them for you. Section 1. Architect versus consumer. Choosing your identity. Okay, so everything here revolves around a fundamental shift in your identity. You are going to either become the architect of your days or the consumer of them. Now, let's be clear. We aren't talking about forcing yourself into some miserable 4 a.m. freezing cold ice bath routine to prove you're tough. We're talking about who you fundamentally are at your core. The architect builds reliable systems and allows their effort to compound over time. The consumer? Well, the consumer just reacts. The consumer waits for the stars to perfectly align, for their morning coffee to be the absolute exact perfect temperature, and for motivation to just magically strike from the heavens before they do anything. And because of this ridiculous waiting game, the consumer inevitably drifts. Because here is the truth. Motivation is entirely 100% unreliable. Structure is what actually compounds. The consumer basically worships their current mood. If they don't feel like it, it doesn't get done. But the architect knows that waiting for a feeling is a literal trap. The architect builds a structure. They show up consistently, they do the work even when nobody is watching, and yeah, even when they would much rather be hitting the snooze button. Discipline overrides desire, every single time. Section 2. The Math of Time, a 180-day breakdown. All right, let's shift gears from psychology to some hard, undeniable math, because I'm about to show you the terrifying reality that the algorithms absolutely do not want you to see. 364 hours. Look, if you spend just 2 hours a day casually scrolling, watching those short little videos, or just endlessly refreshing your feeds, that's 14 hours a week. Over 6 months, that adds up to roughly 364 hours. Assuming a standard work week, you are literally handing over 9 entire full-time work weeks of your life, your potential, and your bodhika, your blessings, to a glowing rectangle. 9 weeks. Just gone. But hey, let's flip the script for a second. What if you actually took back control? Imagine, just for a moment, investing just 90 focus minutes a day into one single high-leverage skill. Over 180 days, that equals 270 hours. Think about the absolute beast you could become with 270 hours of pure, undistracted, head-down focus. You could become fluent in a new language, launch a totally new business, or master a high-income skill. The whole shebang. And all of that on just an hour and a half a day. It's crazy when you break the numbers down. This right here is the compounding equation in action. On a random, boring Tuesday, the visible gap between the architect and the consumer is completely microscopic. You can't even see it. But over time, it becomes violently massive. Improve just 1% daily, and you experience massive exponential growth. Decline 1% daily, and you get exponential decay. It's exactly like compound interest, but for your bad decisions. The problem is, comfort is highly addictive in the moment. That's exactly why, 6 months later, drifters are totally bewildered as to why they feel so stuck. They just didn't notice the slow, comfortable daily slide downhill. Section 3, the 30-day momentum window, the trapdoor. So, if the math is so glaringly obvious, why do so many people still fail? Well, there is a psychological trapdoor waiting for you right at the very beginning. When you begin on day 1, you're hyped up, right? You're ready to conquer the world. But around day 14, poof, all that initial motivation completely evaporates. And by day 30, the progress feels totally invisible. You're putting in the work, but there are absolutely zero fireworks or word ceremonies for showing up. And this is exactly where the vast majority of people throw in the towel. But listen, the first 30 days aren't about getting massive external results anyway. They are about proving to yourself that you are in fact an architect. If you can just survive that first month and stabilize that new identity, you totally set yourself up for that unfair compounding at month 6, where you become literally unrecognizable. Which brings us to the hidden cost of later. This is something Islamic scholars historically warned against for centuries. They called it taswif. It's that endless toxic cycle of saying, I'll just do it tomorrow. Every single time you tell yourself, I'll start next month when things finally calm down, you aren't just hitting pause on your progress. It's much worse than that. You're actively training your brain saying, I am someone who postpones. Remember, identity isn't built by having good intentions. It's built by repetition. You only become a disciplined person by actually doing the disciplined thing today. Let's look at how this plays out on a daily basis. Time is exactly equal for both of these people. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. But the builder chooses one single focus and just executes, even when they are painfully, mind-numbingly bored. The drifter, on the other hand, changes their entire life goals every single Sunday night during an existential crisis, watches other people build cool stuff online, waits around for magical clarity, and constantly complains about not having enough time. 6 months from now, one of them has undeniable proof, and the other just has a really creative, well-rehearsed list of excuses. Section 4, the 180-day contract. Let's stop the drift. So how do we actually permanently put an end to the drift? It is time to sign the 180-day contract with yourself. Here's how we do it. Step 1, choose one measurable thing. Not a chaotic, stressful list of 10 different New Year's resolutions that you're gonna abandon by February. One skill, one project, one goal. Step 2, design your days around it. Build the system once, put it in your calendar, and stop negotiating with yourself every morning. And step 3, execute imperfectly. Actually, scratch the idea of perfection entirely. Perfect planning does absolutely nothing, but an imperfect, messy, sweaty effort every single day, that compounds beautifully over 180 days. I want you to do a quick mental exercise with me. Visualize yourself walking into a room exactly 180 days from today. Based entirely on the choices you are making starting right now, who walks through that door? Is it version 1? Calm, confident, carrying that undeniable, visible momentum of 6 solid months of focused effort? Or is it version 2? Still scrolling, still explaining why things didn't work out, still rationalizing the drift, and still waiting for the perfect time to finally start. Both versions get the exact same 180 days. Which one are you going to be? And here is your final, inescapable reality check. Tomorrow is coming, whether you are ready for it or not. So, will you drift or will you design? You don't need a new year to start. You don't need a new month or a perfectly sunny Monday morning. You literally just need to make a decision. 180 days are going to pass anyway. The fork in the road isn't some cinematic event with dramatic background music and a lightning strike. It's quiet, it's daily, and it starts the moment you wake up tomorrow. Decide right now. Stop wasting your greatest trust. Step up and be the architect of your next 180 days. You've got this.